Welcome back for Act 4, the bad act. This may be the bad act, but I'm feeling pretty good. I got a good feeling about this, and I think this will be a nice, smooth run through. Though there might be one little foil wrench in the plans in that I got a new mouse and I've been trying to adjust to the sensitivity difference. So I'm gonna have a bit of weaker aim, but I think I can compensate it with a bit of fancy footwork and some good old-fashioned chutzpah. Only one way to find out, so we should get right into it. But first, we can't forget to check out the Easter egg. There is a level that'll let us meet an old friend. Interesting info for 200 bucks. That seems like a pittance for something that could crack this case wide open. Definitely have to be sure to head over and check that out. So let's get right to it. And now comes the appointed time for Richard to make his appearance, this time to Evan. His foreshadowing is surprisingly straightforward, and yet the first time I had a pretty hard time deducing what the significance of his words were. Or perhaps in this case, his impersonations? In any case, the point is that Evan won't have time to finish his book, and Richard is warning him that he should stop the book. After all, what's the point? This is, I think, one of those 20/20 hindsight moments. Once you get it, it's of course, and it's so blatantly obvious. But until that point, I, at least would, for my ego's sake, like to think that it's a pretty tricky one to deduce. Right, so let's get into it. Play this one right, and you can get through it in just about a minute. It's really quick, and that's a damn shame, because as I've said before, this is without a doubt the best track in the game. Though it might be for the best because they use a rather bad recut that gets rid of all of the best parts. I have no idea why. Wasn't watching my flank there. Stupid amateur mistake. You really want to get this level, or this floor of the level, down in one shot, because it is such a pain in the ass executing the guys every single time so that you can get into ultra violence. Wow, every shot missed. Talk about bad luck. I got a feeling I won't be able to break a minute on this one. I say that, and it makes you really want to speed up, but the most important thing to remember is that fast is slow and slow is fast. Probably want the lead pipe here since it's got faster swing speed. So there is one thing that the devs did not account for here, and that is you can pretty much just cheat the level this way. That's far more satisfying than it has any right to be. Just like that. That is the easy level. Hope you enjoyed it, because we're not going to have a whole lot more of those left. In fact, come to think of it, I'd probably call that the last easy level in the game. There's one that might pass for it in the final act, the last one with Detective Pardo, but I don't think that quite counts. 2 minutes, wow. I must be off my game. This looks familiar. As well it should. You can see the vehicles from just about every character in the game. Strange thing is, they all seem to be either broken down or impounded. And that's because this is the Bar of Broken Dreams, where you can see all the major characters from the game and a couple familiar faces from the previous ones here to drown their sorrows. You can see that the fans aren't too happy about what happened at the Russian hideout. Looks like the son isn't too happy about what happened to the henchman. I imagine the henchman isn't too happy either. And Pardo's trying to come to terms with who he is. Not sure what's up with Jake. Maybe he's just too poor or stingy to have a drink. Also, shout out to both the man behind the bar, Beard. Nice little callback to Hotline Miami 1, and an even nicer callback to Hotline Miami 1 in the guy rooting through the dumpster there. Yes, that is the guy that teaches you how to kill people at the very beginning, and also the very first guy. Well, I suppose not the first guy you kill. The first one you kill getting into the game proper, right after the intro of the game. But now, the main attraction, which is our good old friend, the biker. He's got some info for us, and it is quite a doozy, but wow, the years have sure done a number on him. Also the 9-iron, I suppose. This is a really interesting one. It's rife with intrigue and provides just enough details to really spur the imagination, I think. I'd like to think that with sufficient time and cleverness, Evan would be able to put all the pieces together from his account. But maybe I'm just saying that because of the curse of knowledge. Who knows? There's the big drop right there. Patriotic bullshit. That would have been 50 blessings. The phone calls are what pretty clearly links it to the vigilante movement. So that means 50 blessings is the vigilante movement. Something big behind it. That's a bit more vague, but I think it's still good enough. Now, this is the interesting part, where he talks about how he went into hiding in the desert. I get a very strong feeling that this is supposed to be in some way symbolic or metaphorical, but I can't quite place exactly what it would be. Him, though I would bet just about anything that him is Richard. Since Biker is the only one smart enough to think with his head instead of his bloodlust, I think that is what caused him to lose the will to fight. He's the one guy Richard really got through to. It makes me a little sad though, because as you'll see, Evan just completely blows him off, discounts everything he says, even though this is without a doubt the best lead he's got so far. This makes me really want to know what would have happened if Biker had won. And I'm not talking about the alternate ending to the original game, I'm talking about more Shit, there's a specific word for it, but I can't for the life of me recall it now. A sort of coda or postscript, like an after the fact. Really, if Hotline Miami 2 had just worked from the biker end. Anyhow, cold cut back to World War Hawaii. I know I've said it before, but God, I just love that beach. I would pay about any price for a screensaver that's nothing but just a loop of those waves washing up on shore, and this, whatever this track is that's playing right now. It's vaguely familiar, but I can't quite place it. Oh well. Let's meet with Kurtz and see what he has to say. I always thought this was so strange. The Colonel, or soon-to-be Lieutenant General. How is it that this guy is so high rank, yet commands a grand total of 4 people? I mean, I get it. The Ghost Wolves are really cool. They're like the hottest shit since sliced bread. They're pretty much a 4-man army. Maybe even the best there is. You know, cue the Kenny Loggins. But still, that's 4 guys. You'd think he would have a bit more men under his command. Now 4 weapons. We've covered just about everything, so I'm going to return to an oldie but a goodie, the shotgun. Now you might be wondering, I haven't gotten to the flamethrower yet, but I've got a very good reason for that, as you'll see shortly. And really, the shotgun is just so good, there's no good reason to pass it up when you've got the chance. Great damage, one-shots fat guys, and you get a whole 4 shells when you get to an ammo crate. And of course, since a single pellet is fatal, that means that it's got pretty much amazing coverage. It's like the sniper rifle, but good. The doors in this section are so weird. Whew, that's a close one. I always hate peeking those fat guys. Oh, rip combo. I was hoping that would go on for a little longer. And so it goes. Not what I was hoping for, but it'll have to do. The one thing I don't like about the shotgun is that you cannot fire until, or you can't switch to your knife until your guy's finished pumping, rechambering the gun. Which, of course, with the timings that you see in this game, can be a pretty severe hindrance. Still, small price to pay to be able to do that. Alright, this should not be this hard. I gotta get my head in the game. Phew. If there's one thing I do like, it's the interruptible reload. That is a godsend. But that was just unfortunate. Might have been hard to tell, but I tried to switch to my knife to get that guy, but instead I just loaded up on ammo. I probably still could have pulled it off, but it completely caught me off guard what happened there. Wow! Now that's some reflexes. Fun fact, the reflexes in the older builds of the game are so bad that later patches, including the patch for my version, actually significantly decreases their reflexes. That is to say, it increases their reaction time. And good thing too, because vanilla is brutal. That guy pretty much killed me from beyond the grave. So if you're up for a challenge, make sure you get the old version of Hotline Miami 2 that I'm playing on, because it is quite the difference between the two. Ooh, I missed someone, but who? Ah, of course, Knife Man. Always Knife Man. Alright, there's some guys with guns here that you really want to take out right at the beginning, otherwise they will throw a major wrench in your plans. Then from there, it's off to the ammo pickups. There are patrols about, and it makes it a real pain in the ass if you're stuck with melee weapons between those and the long corridors. If you don't have a gun, it's quite possible that you'll catch a guy who's just wandering around in the hallway and you can't close the distance because you don't have any good cover concealment. I think that is the last patrolling guy, and I'm hoping this is the last guy in these barracks. Yep, and there's that. The guys wandering the barracks can also occasionally wander out into the halls, and if that happens, get ready for an off-screen death. There are a few levels in this game that I think are truly unfair, but I think this floor pretty much takes the cake. Now, granted, you could argue that it's something that the devs accounted for in their design because of how there's the sniper rifle, which has the far sight, so you can presumably see the coming. But I don't buy it. That just does not seem like enough of a... Oh, and that guy wandered out again. Maybe I should go after him first. I'll try changing up my plan this time and see how it works. The only risk here is that I will be effectively swimming upstream since I'll be running into the guy. Huh, I could have sworn I killed him. Maybe I'm starting to get sloppy, I don't know. But since I'll be running opposite of the way the guys patrol, effectively swimming upstream, I'll have to be very careful because it'll be easy to run into a situation where they see me first and I simply don't have the reflexes, reaction time. One of my many failings, I cannot act faster than a machine. Also note just how slow this level is. I'm actually trying to run it pretty fast. Though, you'd be forgiven for thinking that's not the case. Alright, hopefully now this guy's the last guy for real. And no, I gotta stop tempting fate here. There we go. I don't know if it's obvious, but I don't much like this level. I mean, I don't really like any of the soldiers' levels, but this one is particularly egregious. It's really shocking because so many of the levels are truly well designed, but this one is just bad in so many ways. From the sheer scale of it, I mean, look at the size, down to the design that really doesn't permit fast and free movement. Anyhow, time for a bit of exposition dump. This one is a shot of very vague, ambiguous foreshadowing. We can see here this general, who I'm pretty sure becomes the leader of 50 Blessings. It's never confirmed, but if you take a close look at his dialogue, it fits pretty well. Little account for the dead, a desire to have better troops serving under his command, or I should say more effective resources working for him. I think it adds up. Oh, and of course, can't forget the helmet. You can see pretty clearly that he's doing his best patent with there. You might say maybe Patton by way of platoon. I'm gonna be satisfied if I get even a B rank here. This was, whoa, A+. Alright. I was not expecting that at all. That was really quite a poor showing. But it seems the game doesn't agree. Take note here, I think this is the second time that they've been on their last mission. That bloodstain there is interesting. There aren't any other bloodstains on the set, so I can't help but wonder if Barnes, the black guy, was injured taking this place, or if that's just some random bloodstain there for flavor. If so, it'd be strange for it to just have that one bloodstain and no others. Though it's possible that Denton simply didn't have the time to add the rest of the set decoration. This game was delayed quite a bit, and when it was released, it was pretty clear that the original build was remarkably rushed. So even despite how long we had to wait, they were really hauling ass to get out what they could. So I guess you could go either way on this one, but it really doesn't matter one way or another. Oh yeah, and apparently D Company's a bunch of pussies once again, because we're the Ghost Wolves, we're superheroes, and we're each a one-man army. And jump cut back to 1989, and there's one thing I really don't like about this part, which is that we just had a bunch of exchanges involving Daniels, the soldier guy, in a what is it? Bandana? Handkerchief? Whatever that shit is. And then we cut to Jake, and so the logical conclusion would be to associate the two of them, think that Daniels is Jake. That's a mistake I made the first time around, even though they're two completely different people. So let's be off. We didn't get the money last time, so we got no fancy wheels here. Now we go into this huge labyrinth. Pay attention to the layout of this place, because you'll be seeing it again. Now it can be hard to tell, because pretty much all of the faces were built using templates, but I'm pretty confident that this guy is the general that we saw in the last cut. That would explain the association of jumping from the fight to this. But even so, it's a spurious connection. There isn't a whole lot to confirm or deny it. Now take note of his language here. It's pretty subtle, which makes it good that Jake calls it out explicitly. But they're effectively talking about two different things. Jake is making a proposal, and rather idiotically, I might add, whereas Patton here thinks that Jake is making an accusation. Jake is so dense that he walks right into the HQ of the people making the phone calls to kill all the Russians, and suggests that they start making phone calls to kill all the Russians. That is a special kind of stupid right there. Also, he finally puts two and two together, and he turns into a gigantic tool. I can imagine him just right now doing a huge over-the-top stage wink, maybe making the OK sign with his fingers. Talking to Stage Whisper too. Can't talk about it now, right? Yeah, okay, I get it. I'll catch you on the down low. Oh, whatever. Let's get out of here. God, I'll never get over just how huge these sets all are. Is real estate really that cheap in Sweden or Norway or wherever the hell they are? Alright, now for this level. This is a fun level, as it should be, because it's a Jake level. You can throw shit and it just fucks people up. The beginning is pretty brutal, but fortunately I lucked out here. This is one of those things where you either get it the first time or you either get it an hour later. So I'm pretty happy that I got it the first time. No, not out of the woods yet, so I probably shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch. However that goes. Oh, and of course, it's also got... Wow! I don't know how that punch missed, but I got a hunch I'm going to be paying for it now. Oh yeah, headphone warning. An especially tricky thing about this is you've got to watch, at least the way I'm doing it, is that you got to watch your step, otherwise you can easily bait out a dog, and that just makes it 20 times tougher. Oh, also you can't step too far out, or that will trigger the meth lab in the center blowing up. Phew. Okay, wow, that was lucky. It's a good thing that Jake just caused bullets to phase out of existence when he dropped that shotgun. Otherwise, we would have had a bad time. At least I would have. I don't know. Maybe you get off on my suffering. Whew, whew, whew. That was a close one. Now we get the best worst execution in the game. I know I showed it before, but it just never gets old to me, and I don't mean that in a good way. To see the sprite slowly change as the flesh actually dissolves. Ooh, I can not time that punch right now. There we go. Damn, that timing. So close. Ooh, that was interesting. Usually you get the bat, not the gun. Now I'm starting to think there's actually a delay on the punch after you throw, because I'm pretty sure I clicked most of the times there. But that shouldn't matter if I can get it this time. If I have bullets. Shit, I don't think I have bullets. This could be a problem. Alright, I just gotta make a run for that gun and then get away before they can blast me. Easy. Oh yeah, headphone warning. Okay, not so easy. Those guys were all supposed to have been blown up in the blast. I don't know what the fuck that was. It's one thing I really don't like about this level is that the meth lab explosion is remarkably buggy. I mean, everything in this game is buggy, but that is a special case. You got very good odds that you get an explosion and the people right next to it, point blank, just take no damage, perfectly fine, everything is a-okay. And I mean, that wouldn't be too bad, except for it's not consistent. That's the worst crime. How about this time? Did I blow anyone up this time? Yes, I got the fat guy. That's what I was aiming for this whole time from the get-go. Alright, and now for the hard floor. This one, I only get one chance, so let's get right to it. Who dares wins. Wow, that was unfortunate. Alright, let's cut to a winning run. And we're back. I'm only going to say this once, but what happened before was very unfair. I did not like it at all, and I'm trying very hard not to get frustrated. Luckily, this floor is easy, so now that I'm saved from the bullshit insta-death from before, I should be able to get through this no problem. The fortunate thing about this is that the guys with guns don't wander. It's only melee guys. So as long as you move fast enough to not give them time to actually move from room to room and presumably get behind and flank you, because that will happen if you drag your feet, you can get through it quickly and easily. So now, because we actually survived and didn't get captured by the Ruskies, we get a special ending. Now, if you pay very close attention to Patton's dialogue there, you can tell he really doesn't care about Jake. He's just trying to get him to follow. Of course, Jake, being denser than a sack of molasses, doesn't realize it at all and follows him completely blindly. Note how he fixates on that pot of coffee. One might get suspicious at this, but no, let's just take a floppy disk instead. At this point, you'd think alarm bells would be ringing, but no. Quite frankly, I'm surprised that Jake didn't win a Darwin Award long ago. So now there's two ways this can end. Before, you saw what happens when there's nothing to pick up, but now we have something. Goodies. You'd think this would be something the police, they would investigate, but I guess they just have better things to do. Granted, it is the 80s, so I imagine there's probably a whole lot of murdering and wheeling and dealing to handle, but still. A vigilante movement whose kill figures are probably reaching into triple digits? Maybe at least find out where the guys live. I'm also really interested in what this favor is that Manny owes Evan. It must be something pretty serious, but it's never revealed, and I think they deliberately left it vague. I like to imagine that it's tied to Manny's murdering the Miami Mutilator. Oh, hope you saw that panther there at the bottom right, because that was a pretty big drop. We can see right there that the colonel, who may or may not have become a lieutenant general, Mr. Kurtz, is probably the one that came up for the idea of 50 blessings in the first place. And if he does become a general, that would explain how the idea gets back to Patton from the last one. So I think this is now the third time they're going on their last mission. We of course see what happens in this mission, but I have a hunch that if it didn't end in casualties, that they probably would have been sent out to a 4th, 5th, 6th last mission, and so on. Also note the 50 blessings logo, icon, picture, call sign on that panther's face. I like to think that Kurtz here becomes Brandon, the only good mask in the original game. I really like this. It's a surprisingly profound and a profoundly anti-war message. And even if it's not the most original, it's conveyed in a very interesting and I think original way. It also really says a lot about Denethor and what they think of people. And now we get the flamethrower. Or we will. First, we need to talk. He says good luck, and oh boy, will we ever need it. Need it so bad that it's time to bring out the flamethrower. What better follow-up to a long spiel on man's inhumanity to man than to bring out a blatant violation of the Geneva Convention? So let's get to frying people. Flamethrower is, without a doubt, the best weapon in the game, and quite frankly, so good that they actually had to nerf the score it's worth just to give the other weapons a fighting chance. It really is that good. It's ridiculously ammo efficient, kills fat guys in one shot, and on top of that, it has actual overpenetration and splash damage. Oh, and don't forget the 100 rounds you get. That makes it even better than the big machine gun. The one thing that you would think should have a lot of ammo, but of course it doesn't. Ooh, that last guy almost got me. Damn, I think I overpeaked there. Though it might have just been the reflexes. If you don't get them the first time they see you, then chances are they'll get you. I'm pretty sure that is an issue with the map, and that the Russians are not in fact supposed to face their walls. Whoa, did not see that guy. Lucky break there. Oh, there is one other downside to the flamethrower, and that is that it's got limited range and it moves just a bit slower than bullets. But those are really trifling when you compare the sheer amount of ass kickery that it does. Sat down to record this. I promised myself I'd keep it under an hour, and this is the moment of truth. This is going to be what makes or breaks the LP right here, and I am honestly not feeling the pressure at all, maybe a little bit. Oh shit, I forgot about the guy in that nook. hate peeking that. There's practically no way to see them first, unless you've got hard cover. So, I'll have to go around the long way. And again, I forget about that guy. I have no idea how he hit me there, but he did. Alright, let's take the long way around. Okay, these two might be the last ones. Alright, now we get to the hard part. I'm trying not to show my worry, but I am a little worried. This floor is a very tough nut to crack. Start off with, you gotta bait them out, and then even once you've done that, you still have to make a suicide run. And it seems like if they're not at a certain part of their patrol, a part that I haven't actually pinned down yet, that you're still likely going to die. And there it is. Wow. That was unfair. I don't even know how that guy got into the hall. Another thing that makes this tricky is how, for whatever reason, the fire pulls to my right, which means that I have to specifically move away when I peek that side. Otherwise, it'll hit the wall and then impact and do nothing. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Halfway home. Whew, and so it ends. The next part will be easy, at least relatively speaking. I was hoping I could chain my combo, keep it alive with that one guy that was chasing after me, but it was not to be. So much for a full floor combo. And with that, it ends. One thing I never understood were the windows here. Those are just regular panes of glass. They seem to be fiddling with the door, but you'd think they could just easily bash it open. It's even stranger because there's actually a proper bulletproof glass sprite in the game. Weird oversight. This is a particularly touching moment, I think, if you think about it. Barnes and Daniels are always going after each other in conversation, as you'll notice if you pay attention to their pad exchanges, but he immediately goes over to Barnes as soon as he gets blown up. I know I've said it before, but I just love this section. It flows in such a perfect way to make it so that the first time you go through it, you will very likely beat it with less than 10 seconds left. It is remarkably good level design. And I really wish more games with the obligatory escape the self-destruct countdown were able to design it like that. With such perfect timing. And so he sets the stage for Hotline Miami 1. It'd be very interesting to imagine what happens if he hadn't given him that photo. In case you forgot, that photo is what Jacket throws off the balcony after he kills the last Russian mobster at the end of the first game. So I did pretty poorly there, but the way this game scores, that might just be enough for... Nope. Not even close. Only an A-. I kept it under 10 minutes, though, so I'm calling that... well, not abject failure, but it could have been worse. God damn, that is a wicked mane. Wish I could grow hair like that. Now this is just the sort of stab in the heart that's so blatantly contrived, so overtly, callously attempting to be poignant, that I can't help but feel a little irked at the sickly sweetness of it. As soon as he talks about getting a copy of the photo, so he dies. And with that, goodbye soldier, and goodbye beard. So, for this episode, I thought I would pick a track and keeping with the theme of not a funeral, but a wake for Beard. And so, with that, I have Don't Cry for Me by Old Future Fox Gang. Enjoy.